My other question is very simple. How do I get rid of all the clutter in my life?
Minding your own business will help a great deal. Were you talking about vibrational clutter or physical clutter?
Physical.
Well, same difference, in other words. Because clutter comes from clutter. In other words, when you are in clarity, clutter doesn't gather. But when you are in vibrational clutter, clutter gathers. And clutter usually gathers because it's sort of what we were talking about already. I have the feeling that this might be useful, although I have no rational reason why I think it might be useful. But just to make sure that I don't find myself in a place of lack, I'll keep everything that ever moves through my experience, just in case maybe I need it. In other words, that's sort of what clutter is about. What we would do, it is the most effective process that we've ever seen utilized for quickly diminishing clutter. Some of the things that go wrong with trying to deal with clutter is that as you try to deal with clutter, you're usually in confusion as you begin. And from your confused place, you are an attractor of clutter, not a releaser of clutter. So every piece of clutter you pick up is hard to put down. It's sort of like... you just get bogged down so fast, and then you get overwhelmed in it, and then you give up, and then you sort of become it, and then it doesn't bother you so much for a while, and then something else happens, and you have a moment of clarity, and then your clutter bothers you, and then you go to deal with the clutter, but then the clutter sort of gets you again. And so what you want is a process where you can quickly affect some big change, so that you have some hopefulness about it. Right. But you can't do that if it stirs up some strong resistance in you. And here's what we mean. So let's say you have this cluttered room. Let's call it an office. And you would like it to be tidier, but you don't know where to start. And so as you begin, you think, well, I'll just pile it all in someplace. And you do, which makes it worse because now you can't find anything. Or you think, well, I'll just throw all of this away. But you have a hard time doing that because you've had the experience of as soon as you discard it, you need it again. And so that causes resistance too. So the most effective thing that we've seen is go get a bunch of boxes. Bankers' boxes work very well because they can be assembled or they can be disassembled so they don't take up much space. But get a lot of them, maybe even 100 of them. Depends upon your 100 or 200 or 500 would do most nicely in most lives. We would start with 100. We're not kidding. We would get 100 boxes, and we would assemble 10 of them, and we would number them from 1 to 10. And then we would stand in the room of your greatest concern, and we would say as we stand there, I'm going to quickly move through this room, and anything that I have utilized in the last 6 months, in the last 30 days, today, anything that I've utilized in the last month or two, I'm going to leave right where it is. And anything that I have not utilized in the last month or two, I'm going to put in one of these boxes. And I'm not going to try to sort, because that sorting will bog you down, and then you can invest a lot of time and it won't get you anywhere. But I will try to sort of categorize. In other words, magazines in one box, red bikinis in another box. Things that are similar in size and nature in similar boxes. And then take a tape recorder, and as you pick up a stack of magazines, magazines, they seem to be architectural, they seem to be ladies' home journals, they seem to be whatever they are, in box number 1. And just keep putting things in boxes. And in an hour, you can move through a space in a very rapid way, and you've given yourself the satisfaction of now knowing where everything is. In other words, it's not lost. Now, what you're going to do with these boxes, you're going to put the lid on them, and you're going to stack them against some wall. That would make a very good place, sort of out of the way. And you can stack them as high as you want to. And if you ever need anything in them, you've got the information on the recorder. And then some night, when you're watching television or when you are doing something where you don't have anything to do, listen to the recording with a Wheeldex or an alphabetical card file of some nature, and write, when you hear it, magazines, box number 1, red bikini, box number 7, digital camera that's broken but I don't want to throw it away, box number 4. pictures that someday I will put in an album, box number 7, so that you know where they are, and then they're in your file so that if you ever need them, you can retrieve them easily, and they are out of your way. And so now you've accomplished 2 things. You've cleared your space of clutter. And it's an interesting thing because everything has a vibration to it. It had the vibration when you first touched it. Sometimes it even had the vibration of whoever you were interacting with. Everything has a vibration. And so all of this stuff that's been vibrating all around you is now relegated to one place. You might even put it in the garage or in a storage building or someplace where it's out of sight and therefore out of your vibrational range. And if you ever need it, you can receive it easily. We would go through our entire house like that. We would take everything that we are not actively using and put it someplace else. And the way you will begin to feel in your space will change dramatically. And then eventually, as you acknowledge, I have boxes 1 through 100 on that wall, and in the last 6 months, I have not gotten into any of them. You may say, maybe I don't need boxes 1 through 100, and then you would be willing to release them. Or you might say, I'm happy to keep those boxes around. They're not bothering me. Yes.
Well, that's great. Thank you very much.
Yes, indeed.